Oh, I'm missing things. Why is that on? No, I'm a hot mess of things that need to be where they're not, where they're supposed to be. I think we're live. It looks like audio is working. What a great start. I have no doubt I'm forgetting some major stuff and I can't think of what it is right now. Let's start with getting my reference photos up. And tonight we are going to be working in Pastels with colored pencil. You can follow along using any medium you want because a lot of what we're talking about applies for every single medium. You know, talking about contrast, values, detail, all that fun stuff. So let me pull I'm missing one. Hold on one second. Where's the other one? That one. Maybe that, yes, I did need that one for something. Okay. 1 second. We are almost ready to go. Okay. That didn't take as long as it could have. So, you know, things could have been less prepared. Okay. So tonight, again, colored pencil over pan pastel. I'm working on Canson Inktense. This is the gray paper. And what I did is I started with drawing out my guinea pig on a piece of tracing paper. And then I used transfer paper. You just take a stylus, you can take an old pen, and you just trace over you slide your transfer paper over, and then you trace over that. And then your image is cleanly onto your paper. If you're working with a thin enough paper, like a white paper, maybe 140-pound hot press is my other go-to colored pencil paper, that you can trace directly from a light box or from a computer monitor. But when you're dealing with the Canson Inktense, it's too opaque and you're not gonna be able to see through it. So that is why we are using the tracing and transfer paper. And I recommend hang on to this because as you're working, one of the things that I see happen a lot with students is they'll start working and somehow the eyes are not in the right place anymore. The ears are off. Something seems off. This is your little let's double check my work thing, and you can put it right over your work and redraw anywhere that feels like it might be a little bit off, and you've then got your fix. Okay, so let me just move this over. And let's see. Nick says audio, video is good. Yay! Okay. So first we're going to start with the pan pastels. Actually, don't have here it is, my spray. I use Spectrafix to seal down the pan pastels before I start with colored pencil, and I keep mine in a fine mist sprayer. So this guy here, and if I'm working on this, if you really like it and think, wow, that adorable guy would look awesome in my house because he's adorable, you can bid on him. Starting bid is $70. That includes shipping if you're within the US. Because of shipping internationally, I don't know how you guys outside of the US have no problem shipping to the US. I've had more problems shipping things outside of the US. Stuff takes like months, and then people are complaining they didn't get it, and it's why I was gonna look into to making that happen for you guys, and it's just not possible. I do it on my Patreon, the upper tiers where you get the mini print each month and the postcards. Those I can ship international, have no problem with those. But whenever I try to send actual artwork that's a bit larger, I have issues. Prints, no problem, but they don't come from me, they come from a drop shipper, and the drop shipper has no problems. I don't know if am I just getting flagged by customs? I don't know. All I know is it takes forever to get stuff and then people complain. It's a whole thing. Okay, so let's start with getting the underpainting on this guy. Now, the reference photo you can download. The link is in the video description. Now, I get a lot of people complaining that there's no reference photo on the screen. Here's the thing. If you are following along with me, that reference photo on the screen, and I will have it during the colored pencil portion because I won't need the pan pastels to show, you need it bigger. Like if you are seriously trying to draw in this style, like it's fine for your little paint and sip crafty type art projects. Those are fun, but that's not something that you have to be very precise on. With something like what I teach you to do, we're going with more realistic. We're going with an actual fine art versus a more crafty style. So you've got to have a bigger reference photo. You need that bigger on your screen than what I can provide on a live stream. So even if I have it on the thing, it wouldn't be big enough. Like people complain, they want me to get rid of the boys and replace that with a reference photo that is never going to be big enough anyway. So again, little lecture there because I inevitably get comments. Have it bigger, separate, download it, and then have the image if you're following along in a bigger thing because you need to see way more than what you'd see on the computer screen. Okay, so getting started. I'm going to be using my soft tools. So these are kind of like little palette knives with sponges on them. And I can probably use pretty much the same colors I used for last time, I'm going to be starting, my colors are upside down for how I usually have them. This is burnt sienna. So let's get a little bit of burnt sienna. I'm going to pull a little yellow ochre and a little bit of white. Now, I am totally okay, though, with this being more rich. I actually want my colors to be a bit more rich than what my reference photo is, which, again, you can download. Link is in the description. So actually, before we get started really quick, we've got a super chat from Fly Me to the Moon, who says, Fat Hounds, yay. Oh, wait, look, he's already jumping when I said yay. Okay, come get a super chat. Thank you so much. Way to start the night, huh? You're already getting treats. Yeah, I know. Big sigh because you're very excited. There you go. Good boys. Very tasty, huh? Hey, I was prepared with the treats tonight. Okay, go lay down. 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 Cow. No, go lay down. Tries to turn back around. He's like, no, but you could have more. Lay down. Okay, thanks again. Let me lay down. Both of them are just standing there. Boys, down. You just think you don't have to listen. And then, now that they did lay down, do you want another super chat from Oriole Beagle? They're like, no, you're not serious. Okay, come on, get a super chat. We're just messing with you tonight, huh? Okay, one more super chat. Thank you so much. The boys thank you too. Back up so they can see your cute faces. Or, yeah, there, now you'll see faces. Okay, go lay down again. Down, down, down. Gibson, down. Gibson. They have definitely not been listening lately. I don't know, do your dogs go through phases where they're like, nah, you're not going to make me. I can do what I want. Stubborn greyhounds. Okay, on to the project. So, I've got my brush. Now, whenever I load with Pastels, you don't need a lot on. Like, you're not trying to build this up super thick. If you build it up too thick on the paper, then the colored pencil doesn't stick as well. So whenever I load it, I just tap that a little bit onto a paper towel. I use Viva paper towels because they're more cloth-like. An old t-shirt would work as well. This color's okay for the lightest areas, but I need to go a little bit darker for the dark spots pretty quickly. I don't want, if I go too light, my light lines that I plan to put over this really aren't going to show up. Now I'm going to make the inside of his ears more pink. I really want those to stand out more. So I'm going to pull some magenta with a little bit of that same color. And actually white, I definitely need to lighten that up a lot too. So I just mix them right in the pan. Yeah, that color works really well. You're just going to make his ear look like it's being backlit a little bit, which makes sense because he does have a lot of light back there, so I can get away with taking those artistic liberties. That ear has more black, but I'm going to make a little bit more pink in it before I switch over to the black. And actually, that pink color, we add a little bit of white and a little bit of gray, even add a little bit of brown. And we can fill in his nose. So we've got guinea pig snoot. How many of you guys have guinea pigs? How many of you guys want guinea pigs? Every time I go to the pet store, I ooh and ah over them. They're so cute. But I have enough critters. Okay. Next, let's see. So I can come back and I can wipe this off on a paper towel, but I don't really need to switch colors or switch sponges. I can just reuse what I have. Let's get a few little highlights or the golden tones up here. Notice that I'm not using yellow. It's really easy to think you should jump to yellow for stuff. You look at him and go, oh, he's kind of a blonde color, yellow. No, no. Do not use yellow in animals like this. I'm going to get a little red ochre in there. Or actually, no, this is burnt sienna, red ochre. I'm just making, oh, I almost swore, making stuff up. Red iron oxide. Okay, there was a red. Okay. Again, I want the color to just have a bit more saturation than what my reference photo has. So you'll see me going a little bit more rich, taking some artistic liberties here. So we've got the black will go up there, and that's pretty good here. Now I'm going to switch over to some brown and gray for the shadowed area under the neck. Again, I want this to be a little bit darker than what I want that end result to be, because I've got to be able to put highlights over this, although this part's a bit out of focus, or it will be in the finished one, but we need that dark. Now my matte, this, if you buy this, he's going to come with a black matte, and the matte will cut a lot of this off. I've got a lot of extra space around this guy. I'm going to just fill that in so that the matte, like, what I don't want to have happen here is for the matte to cover, or not quite cover as much as I think it will, and have like gray on the bottom so it looks like the head is floating. No floating heads. Floating head portraits rarely look good. Trust me, I know. I've done it enough times when I was a beginner. And then quickly regretted it because it looks like a weird floating head. So here I'm going to keep going with the gray and the brown, mostly gray. He's got the shadow for his little guinea pig cheeks. And then over here, I've got a window open, so you may be hearing neighbors' dogs barking. Luckily, the neighbors who used to live next door that had, I called them the barkadoodles. Lord, those dogs were loud. They moved, so it's been gloriously quiet. I liked, he was cool, but oh man, those dogs. Like mine couldn't be outside without their dogs losing their mind. Okay, so now I've just got the white. I didn't even change my brush. You can see this is a little bit dirty. Totally fine. I don't need this to be straight white, so I don't care if it gets a little muddy from some of the colors that are already on there. That actually will give me a more natural look without having to try. Now the little individual wispy hairs, I'm not super worried about those because I'm going to be putting those on with colored pencil. We've got an area up here where there's no more white. Now the thing that I want you to notice, if you pull up that reference photo, which you can download, link is in the video description, pull that up. Look at how this fur here is white, this fur is white, this fur is white. But when you're creating it in your art, that's in shadow. We need to make sure that we're capturing those values. That's what's going to make this look realistic. So people have a tendency, especially when they're beginners, they get stuck in their head. If I just knew what color, stop thinking about the color. The color is white. But that's not the color you want to use. You've got to worry about your values. Is it light or dark enough? I could do this with a completely different brown, completely different orangey tones, completely different everything. As long as my values, I could decide I'm going to do everything with purple if I wanted to. As long as my values, my lights are light enough, my darks are dark enough, we'll still get a realistic look. And I'm actually good with this being a bit thin so that some of that background shows through, which makes it look a little bit lighter, or darker, I mean, so that the pencil can create the little hairs over it. Okay, let's start building. Let's see, I need the blacks, but I don't want them to, I don't want to start too dark on those. I definitely want to get more of a bluish tone. I'm going to use some ultramarine blue and some white for the highlighted areas, which is going to look super weird right now. We'll make that make sense later. Anywhere where the black would have a highlight, I want to use blue. Can even do a little bit of that on the eye. Okay. I'm missing a spot where I want actual tan. Let's pull that back in. So I'm going to wipe this off. I can use the same tool, mixing white and the tan color here. Okay. I was actually looking for reference photos of pigs, like normal, cute little pigs. And this came up, and even though we did a reference photo, or did a project not too long ago with a guinea pig, I had to draw this. It was just too cute not to. Okay, can I start with the black? Yeah, I think I can start layering black in. But I'm not going to use the same soft tool in case I decide that I want to use that one again with those colors. So I'll just grab this is a pointy one. That'll work. And I'm just going to go with straight black now. And let's just pull that where that needs to go. I'm not pushing very hard, and I'm not layering this on super thick. It doesn't need to be. Even there, I kind of screwed up. I pulled the black further out than I wanted. I don't care. That's all going to get fixed with colored pencil. So if things are not going quite how you intended, do not worry about it. This cute little curly hair. I just want to pay attention to what direction that's moving in. If it's not perfect, again, we can fix a lot of that with the colored pencils. With that same black, I'm going to pull a little bit more shading right under his chin. Okay, I think we are good to start with the colored pencil. Almost. Let's do a little fuzz right there. We're not going to do the whiskers yet. We'll save that for the pencil. Am I missing anything major? Nope, I think we're good. Okay, so I'm gonna make sure I cover where I put that colored pencil there earlier. Okay, I'm going to now take my, actually I'm going to move my soft tools out of the way because I don't want to ruin the sponges on that since I keep reusing them, or well, I guess I am reusing them. I'm not cleaning them, I'm just reusing the same ones. So let's get those out of the way, and I'm going to lightly mist this. Let's get my phone out of the way. And then I'm going to dry it. Thank you so much, Pauline. Good timing, because this is, I've actually got to fix the color on this anyway, and let that set for a second. We've got another, whoops, let me pull this up. Super chat from Pauline. Do you, look at them. I don't know. You told me no last time. Do you want a super chat? Come on. Thank you so much, Pauline. Do you want one of these? Back up. Back up, back up. Back so they can see your cute faces. Good boys. You're being a very nice gentleman tonight, Wade. You're not biting my hand this time for your treats. I know, huh? Oh, it's very good. Okay, so let me put these away. You boys lay down. Lay down, boys. Or completely ignore me. I guess that's what we're just, look at the faces of hounds that are just completely ignoring me. You're bad dogs. Oh, good boy, Gibson. Cow, go lay down. Okay, let me put these away. Down, Gibson. Okay. Now we are going to change the scene a little bit here. So we've got my reference photo is now there because now I have a spot for that since you don't need to see the pastels anymore. Let me slide, oof, my colored pencils over. Wow, that plane is loud outside. Okay, decaf before anyone says I talk too fast and that I need to switch to decaf because apparently that's a normal thing to tell people. I don't know why people think that's not rude. Okay, let's see, are we good? I think we are good. Oh, I wanted to double check that the focus in, I mean, it's gonna look a little blurred, but actually the color's not terrible here. I'm gonna leave that. I lied, I'm leaving it. I am going to grab some glassine though. So what glassine is a pH neutral, like it's an acid-free, nice product that I use for, let's say I'm going to ship a painting and it's not in a bag like this comes in a bag that protects it. But like if I'm shipping a painting, which I need to do because I finally got the tiger all varnished and ready to go, I will wrap the painting. I do it for most mediums. I will wrap it first in glassine before any cardboard touches it, because cardboard is not acid free. So to protect the artwork, make sure nothing's sticking to it, nothing nasty, I use the glassine for that. So I use it for shipping. I use it for storage if I have these, or I do have these art boxes that are also acid free, these big black ones. You can get them at, I think I got mine from Blick or Jerry's. And where's my tape? It's not the tape I wanted. I guess you're gonna have to work. Oh, I'll use this. Oops. Where was I going with that story? Oh, I'll put a piece of glassine in between each of the paper or the projects in there so one doesn't get like charcoal all over the back of the other one. I mean, not that it's the end of the world if it does, but it helps protect it from that. But again, because it's pH neutral, it's safe to have touch artwork long term. And I use it when I'm drawing like this. I can just tape it to my board, and now I can rest my hand on here without affecting the artwork. Okay. All the supplies that I'm using are linked in the video description. Affiliate links, so you can do me a bit of a favor there. Okay, let's see. I have a ton of pencils already out. Most of them will probably work. Remind me, if you're on my email newsletter, you already saw it, the links that I'm working on in colored pencil. So much fun. I'll show you where I'm at on it if you remind me later. Okay, let's see. Where do I want to start? I think I'll just start with around his eye like I usually do, and then work my way out from there. So I'm going to use my polychromos black because that sharpens to a finer point than my other pencils. I really like this blue that I was using earlier. So for the links, mid ultramarine, this is Derwent Lightfast. You do not need to use the same colors I'm using. If I'm using black, grab any black you have. If I'm using a light blue, grab a light blue. I don't care if it's the same. This is where artists have a tendency to get hung up. They read a little bit about warm and cool colors, and I'm not saying that there's no value in knowing those things, but if you're at a stage where you are questioning, you're just like really confused about which color to use, you don't even worry about warm and cool. You're making your life more difficult than it needs to be. Worry about light and dark. That is it. That's all I want you to focus on if you are a beginner. When you start getting more advanced, then you can start reading books that talk a bit more about color theory, and they'll start making sense to you. But if you jump into color theory in the beginning, usually it makes things feel very overwhelming to beginner students, and that's not the part that's going to make their work look start looking realistic. What will make it look more realistic is get those values. Light's light enough, dark's dark enough, and get the detail in where it belongs. I mean, pay attention to where those highlights go. Don't just toss them in anywhere. I've got my Derwent Drawing Chinese White just because it's out, so that's what I will use. What are you doing, dragon? My bearded dragon back there's climbing the rock on his enclosure. Okay, so I'm going to start by getting my little highlight on the eye. And then he's got another one down here. And I don't hate the idea of making the eyes look a little bit bigger than what they really are, because that makes them, it just gives you a stronger cute factor. But if you're gonna go bigger, and I wouldn't do it on most animals, but the whole goal of these guys, he needs to look adorable. So just pushing it outward a teeny tiny bit will give you that cute, slightly more, not fully cartoony, but a little bit because it's adorable. That's what I'm going for there. And the same thing with the ring around the eye. It's not a ring around the eye, it's his, I guess his tear line. I'm just gonna pull that out a little bit more. And I'm gonna use my blue right along the edge. And it's a lighter blue, so it gives me more of a gray tone. Again, I'm not going exact to the photo. I'm going for a little bit cuter than the photo is my goal. I'm going to pull some little dark hairs around, and then I'll do white next to it. Now, the reference photo doesn't have really dark there, not as dark as what I'm going. Again, I just wanted to up the cute factor on him. And I'm going to use white. Actually, I think this one is oyster. Just because it's out and I'm lazy. And that kind of shows you too. So a lot of what I'm using, they're the same pencils I have out already for my links. So I'm just grabbing what I was using. Not because this is the perfect white, this is the perfect blue, it's convenient, and it's a matter of light and dark. That is what we are focusing on. Except for yellow, don't use yellow. And I'm gonna put little highlight as we move our way down. I'm going to make my highlights a little bit lighter than the reference photo, make my darks a little bit darker. Well, my darks are actually pretty dark in this anyway. Now make sure if you're going to go a little bit larger on the eye, you're doing that intentional, like you understand that doesn't make it look more realistic. Like you're going for something specific when you do that. You're trying to get a little bit of a cartoony cutesiness to it. I'm taking a gray and just lightly pulling that highlight, making it stand out a little bit more. Oops. I'm going to bring that top right, just a tiny little point right in there. Okay. Now I want to start paying attention to the direction of his fur and where are my lights and where are my darks. I've got a great color I was using on the links that will work on this. This is the Derwent Light Fast Sandstone, and that is the color I'm going to use for my orangey tones on this guy. Orangey tan. Again, just watching the direction of the fur. And I am okay with mine looking a little bit more harsh than what the reference photo has. Like I said, I want to make it stand out a bit more, look a little bit shinier. And that's not to say there's anything wrong with going just with the reference photo. The reference photo is totally cute. I just wanted few artistic liberties, few changes. But if you're going to make changes, I like to make those decisions before I start. It's one thing to decide, I want slightly bigger eyes. I want shinier fur. I want these specific things. That's one thing. But I want to have the control to make that decision. It's happening because I made the choice as an artist. This is what I wanted it to look like. I don't want it to happen on accident because I wasn't paying attention. So I think it's important when you decide that you want to do something a little bit more stylized that you go into it knowing that's your plan. Otherwise, I think it gets very frustrating for artists when things aren't going right because even though that can still be cute, if it was on accident, it's less enjoyable for the creator because they're frustrated it's not coming out how they wanted it to. But I think it's important to have the control of making it look like those changes are intentional. Okay, I'm going to skip down. Let's see, I'm going to work up here. Scooch the paper a little bit. And then where I've got this highlight, that highlight would be mostly white if I was really going for super accurate to the photo. I'm going with blue because it's going to make it look shinier. White comes out gray when it's up against the black, and it just makes him look almost aged or like gray fur, which is not the look I want. And that's something that I do even when I'm doing really realistic pieces, whether, let's say it's a black lab or a black panther, something like that. I'm going to pull a lot of purples and blues for my highlights instead of just white, because the white or gray for a highlight will make an animal look a lot older than what you may be intending. Get a lot darker over here, so I'm going to push a little bit harder. So even though I'm taking these artistic liberties, I'm making things a little bit lighter, a little bit darker, blue, I'm still putting them in the right place. That's still important. So we've got a highlight right in here. I want to overlap these a little bit, let that be somewhat softer. I'm going to switch over, we'll use the Derwent Drawing Chinese White. I'm going to make this a little bit harsher than the reference photo. It gets very out of focus here, and that isn't the look I wanted. As cute as that is, if I wanted that to stay really soft, I would put a little bit more work in with the pan pastels. I want to sharpen that up though. And that's not to say that it's not perfect as it is. That's just the look that I was going for here. Like if you like the soft look, there's nothing wrong with it. I don't want to give you the impression that it needs to be made, if something's out of focus, you should make yours out of focus, or you should make yours sharper. No, you're the artist. If you want it sharper, make it sharper. If you want it soft, leave it soft. It's not an issue of one is right or wrong. It's personal preference there. It's got like a little Elvis do here, kind of curves. He's got fancy hair. Actually, I think I'm going to switch and start over on the detail here so I can just work my way back over. So we've got the little ear fluff here. I've got some white here that really stands out. And then we've got some highlighting, so we'll do a little bit of blue. The same thing, there's a little bit of a highlight here on the fur, and I'll still use some white. I want to do a lot with the blue. I'm going to pull that in a bit too. Kind of softly let that fill in. And then we've got the black. I'm going to softly let that fill in. It is so easy to make a few pencil strokes and think, oh, that looks so awesome. It looks just like fur. And you keep repeating the same stroke over and over again. That is definitely not what we want to do. That's not going to look natural. Really look at that reference photo and pay attention to which direction that fur is moving. It doesn't need to be exact, but you do want close. Softly go over. I'm not pushing very hard here. And let's see. Use that sandstone and just soften that out a bit. Okay. I'm going to use the black, and I'm pushing pretty hard, making that stand out really well. And if I want the black to be even darker, I can come back through with a purple over it. Derwent Lightfast Purple and Nightshade are two of my favorites for making my black darker. I used to, before Derwent Lightfast, I used to mix, depending on, or it could be any brand really, but I would mix blue and purple, blue and reds to get a deeper black in with my black. Now, because Derwent Lightfast, they have the best purples. So just straight purple or Nightshade, they are like, if those are the only pencils you want to try out with Derwent Lightfast, get those ones. They make, it's better than any other brand. So come through with the white, technically mine is Oyster. And I'm going to start layering this, and you can see why I didn't want to get my background to be too light. I want to create the look of the fur in here, but in order to do that, I need this to be dark enough that it kind of peeks through. And I'll show you on this camera because it's more detailed than what I think is showing here. Watch how that switches directions. It's kind of fanning out. Actually, I'm going to jump down to the nose for a second. I'll use Caput Mortem for the little inner portion of the nose. And then coming down right over his little guinea pig upper lip. And little bottom lip. Caput Mortem is one of those colors too. Like, let's say this is my brain shut down. Faber-Castell Polychromos. If you don't have a lot of Faber-Castell Polychromos, make sure you get Caput Mortem. That is one color I use so much. It's definitely a go-to pencil for me. And like, I can't think of the last time I did something in colored pencil and I didn't use Caput Mortem somewhere. Okay, now that I've got the nose kind of blocked in, I can see which direction the fur needs to go as I move out. I'm just sharpen that pencil again. I just use these little metal comb sharpeners. These are my favorites. Unless you're using a brand, well, the only brand I know of that breaks because the weather changed, or the weather thought about changing, are polychromos Prismacolor, and they break so bad. Like they're just, quality control is just crap on those. Mechanical sharpeners, if you've got a decent one, I had better luck with not having as much breakage with those than the handheld sharpeners. I always love the people who complain, when I complain about that, say, oh no, you're just sharpening it wrong. It's a pencil. It's a pencil sharpener. It's not a magic way, like it should just work. It just always cracks me up how many people get like all offended that I don't like what they like. I mean, go for it if you like it, but the reality is they've got a reputation for it breaking for a reason. We're not making that up. It happens. Well, I've got the white out. I'm going to come over here. Now, that's not to say if you've got Prismacolors, you can create beautiful work with them. So I don't want you to be like, oh man, these pencils are terrible. I give up. I'm not even going to bother with them. I don't like them. But that also doesn't mean that you can't create amazing, stunning, like some of my favorite colored pencil work that's ever been done was done with Prismacolors. Not by me. I don't like them. But I've seen by other artists who love them and did amazing work. So again, well, watch out for their light fast issues. That's a whole other thing. But you can create good work with it. I know some of you are going to be watching that thinking, oh man, well, I shouldn't even bother with colored pencil until I can get the good ones. No, you can still create beautiful work. They're just a pain to work with because they have an attitude. It's like me before coffee in the morning. Oh, that is actually a good way to describe them. Grumpy, and they break a lot. In my case, I'm grumpy and I trip over everything. Okay, let's see. Let's pull a little bit of softness here. A little bit more around the ear. Oh, he's already so cute. And if you want to own this adorable guinea pig, you can bid on him. Link is in the video description. I'm actually going to be shipping the stuff out from the last couple of weeks. It'll go out Friday. Should be in the mail. So if you're waiting for something from me, it's coming. I kept forgetting. Well, no, I didn't forget to varnish the tiger. That's kind of what I was waiting on because I was going to send everything together. The tiger needed, when I went to varnish it, realized I had a couple things I had to touch up, then I had to wait for that to dry. It was a whole thing. And I don't like to ship freshly. Like it's dry to the touch, but I still don't like to ship it and smush paintings until they've really dried. Okay, so I'm taking some Caput Mortem. I'm going to put a few little hairs, just getting the hint. Now here's the trick. I don't want to create every single hair that's in that reference photo, especially on something this size. It's going to look weird. It'll look like zombie hair. I just want to give you the hint of some of that hair. So see the little clumps and clusters, just watching the direction, kind of getting the hint of where those go. But do not try to draw in every single one. It's going to look like not good. I was trying to think of something more creative than not good, but mostly I was coming up with swear words, and I'm trying not to do that. See, just pick one little area and then work my way around. And I can come back and adjust values as I need to as I keep going. Yeah, Python said only 85 of the 150 Prismacolors are rated Lightfast 1 or Lightfast 2 under the ASTM. Yeah, Lightfast colors also happen to be the least useful in the set, of course. You know, that's better than it was because last I had checked was years ago and only like 1/3 of them were Lightfast. Like it was not good at all. Okay, focus, Lisa. Do your job. Stop picking on poor Prismacolor. They can't help it if their manufacturer doesn't care. That's a good reason though. Like, I don't like art supplies where it's from a company that makes 800 million different things. Every time a company also, like in the case of Prismacolor, isn't it like Rubbermaid owns them, who makes a million other, they don't care about art. This is just like one of our branches that we can make money off of, but they don't actually care about making artists happy. So that's something that I don't like. Whereas like Faber-Castell, they make art supplies. That is it. And they focus on that. Like they really care about that. Derwent, same thing. When you have companies that start like branching out too much, and I'm all for a company branching out, but when you start branching away from art supplies, it starts to suffer. Like Fabriano, for example. Fabriano Artistico paper, their extra white hot press 140-pound watercolor paper. That used to be my go-to colored pencil paper. I loved it. I freaking hate it now. Actually, I'm working on it right now because I didn't realize that that is the one I grabbed was the new version, not the older one, because I still have some left over from before. Yeah, it just doesn't, the quality went to hell. And they claim that it didn't change, but any artist who used it's like, yeah, your paper isn't the same. They started printing money or something like that, like legally, not you know, creatively. But the quality absolutely changed because they are not just focused on making artists happy anymore. And that is the case with Prismacolor. They were good at one point. I mean, they were always super waxy, but that's, you know, personal preference there, so I'm not going to bash them for that. Using a bit of Caput Mortem for the shadow, and then I'm going to lightly go over there. I'll use more Caput Mortem for the shading in here. This whole area is a lot darker. I'm not pushing very hard here, just lightly shading his guinea pig snoot. Continue moving around this way. Stop with the pop-up, YouTube. I don't need, you're not going to make me play an ad for people. They don't need ads. Guinea pig chin. Now, when I do these lines, I'm not doing random individual lines just kind of spread out all over. They're clumped in clusters. They're grouped together. Look at the little rows on your reference photo. So there's actual like rows in there. And I'll have to do a bunch of shading with that as well. I'm just kind of blocking in where the white pattern of his fur is. Now here the fur starts getting, it's more out of focus. Actually, most of this will be cropped by the mat. So I'm just giving you the hint of fur. I'm not going to try to put as much detail as I do around the face. I'm going to switch over. Actually, let's do some more Caput Mortem for the shadows in here. I'm not pushing hard with this pencil this day. It's really soft. Kind of switch over to the sandstone. Let's get some of these little hairs. Again, a bunch of this will have Caput Mortem for the shadow. And even these, you've got these clumps where there's almost rows. See how the fur switched directions over here? Sandstone for the underside of the ear. Now I'm going to do some highlights over that fur with the white, just on the edges. A few of these areas stand out a bit more. It's not that it's white fur, it just, I want the sandstone to be a bit lighter. Now we'll take the Caput Mortem and get that shadow in there. Now, when you're working with colors like this where you've got these orangey tones, don't jump to black for the shadow. When possible, use purples. This one, the Caput Mortem is kind of a brick color, but it's a nice, rich tone. It's not going to give you that flat, muddy tone that you would if you were trying to shade this with black. It's not that you can't use black to shade some of these areas, but don't jump to that as your go-to. I need something darker. I see a lot of videos on YouTube from beginners. I say beginners, but they've actually been painting as long as I am. They just stay at a beginner and they keep teaching like they're not. But, side rant. And they teach to use black for shading everything. And it's like, there's nothing, okay, you can use black. I'm not an anti don't ever use black paint. So there are artists that are completely opposed to it. But don't let that be your go-to color to jump for shadows. Jump 4 for shadows. Great. You're not here for grammar. Jump 2 for shadows. Use these more rich tones, and I'm going to come through with purples as well to darken some of this up, but it's going to give you, even though it's like more rainbow, more colors than what you would really see, it also looks more natural than just black for the shadows. Black will be very, very flat. Okay, let's actually, this is my Derwent Light Fast Purple. I'm going to use that for some of the deeper darks in his nose and the fur around here. Just a few spots. And it can be just as dark as the black, but it's not so flat, and it won't get muddy. Whenever you've got orangey tones, black is going to muddy stuff up. Now, sometimes you want that. There are cases where muddy works. This is just not one of them. Can you tell the dart frogs got moved back into the studio? They're in the new vivarium. They are quite happy with it. So happy they're trying to make all the babies. This isn't that kind of video. See, a little bit of black for the shadow there. A little bit was good. Just don't jump to that as, I need a shadow, black. Same thing. I'll use a little bit over the purple. Don't go crazy. Okay, he is really cute. I am liking this guy. Okay, let's jump over here. The top of his ear is folded over. Got a little bit of hair, so let's pull a little bit down that away. And I made my ear a little bit more pink on the inside. I'm going to pull a little bit. Let's lighten it up a bit more. Let's give him his crazy hair. Now notice how I keep curving and changing directions. That is so important. Don't just keep making the same direction over and over again. It just doesn't have a natural movement to it when you do that. Also notice that I'm mainly hitting the outer edges. See how I'm leaving some of these darks in there? I'm going to use Caput Mortem to darken just the inner portion of the ear a bit more. And we've got black for some of the hair that now needs to overlap that. And let's see, we've got, let's define this a little bit more. Okay, he's about done, so I'm just going to sit and look at little areas I may want to change, like maybe a little bit more blue for the highlight in a couple of these spots. Pull some blue over his nose a little bit. I'm going to pull some blue over the white as well. Yeah, that looks really good. A little bit of blue in this area. Just define his little chin. Geez, I hope you guys have a lot of questions because apparently I blew through this one pretty fast today. I'm going to work on my values a little bit more though. Since we've got so much time, I can spend a bit more time refining some things, making it a little darker here. So I'm pushing pretty hard where I want it to be really dark. I still need to do whiskers too, but I want to make sure everything else is done before I do that. I'm going to put, where I'm putting the black now, I'm going to put purple back over it too. Purple, probably, and Caput Mortem. see what else. And he's about there. Okay, let's do some whiskers. So I'm not going to jump to white for all of the whiskers. This one is warm gray number 1. I'm going to use that for some of them, and then I'll use white for some of the others. So we've got that one. Actually, I can probably use this instead of white for everything. That is like, well, a few areas we'll need to have a bit of white. It's not standing out as much. At least over the gray of the paper. That stands out really well. Okay, I'll switch over to white because it's going to stand out better, show it better. So, see, oop, there we go. Have to push a little bit harder so that this one will show up against the other ones. Shadow in here. I'm not pushing hard. I just want a light shadow. I think I'm going to pull a little bit more blue in this shadow portion too. Just have to kind of work between the whiskers. Yeah, that looks really good. A slightly darker blue too, I think would look great for some of the highlights on the edges so it fades out a little bit better. Let me see what blues I've got. Still want it to be that more kind of ultramarine blue. I want a similar blue to what I have, just a little bit darker. Let's see, what do I have? Cobalt blue will probably be close enough. I just want to get a little bit of a deeper blue for that transition between the light blue and into the black. I'm done early, so I can spend some extra time fancying some of this up. I'm not pushing very hard here. Just kind of going through, getting some more of those little chunks, those clusters and clumps of fur. That looks way more blue on the camera than it does in person. I'll go over it with a bit of white, but that's not that extreme, so don't make yours that bold. There we go. Tone it down just a bit. Okay, oh, he's so cute. Now when I sign it, I don't have the mat in here right now, but I did mark where the 5x7 would be. And that would be right here where I want to sign it. So I'm going to sign it, let's see. No, I'm going to do, probably could put Mortem will work. Yeah. There we go. So the reason that I had pre-marked where the mat was going to be, I'll show you in the other camera, it looks way better. The reason that I marked where the mat was going to be is if I signed at the bottom, it would be covered by the mat, which obviously not the look we want. So let me show you. This is going to be way more accurate. You can see way more rich in the color. Oh, I'm thrilled with how he came out. I want to put a couple more whiskers on this side though. Yeah, this is a much more accurate view of color and saturation and detail and all of that. Actually, wait. Where there you can see the detail a bit better now. It's certainly a little bit washed out over here. Well, these lights will do that too. I want a few more little whiskers, not a lot. Okay, there we go. So again, here is the finished. There we go, and he will come in a black matte. So if you know somebody who loves guinea pigs, there you go. How cute is he? I love him. Okay, and I am ready really early. I got that guy finished pretty quick. Tea. Okay. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave those now. And we also, perfect timing, Patty. We have look at Gibson knows it's coming. He's like, it's been a while. It is time for a super chat. Licking your lips. You want a super chat? Come on. Thank you so much, Patty. The voice, thank you too, huh? Oh, this is tasty. Back up so they can see your cute faces. Yeah. Back up. Back up. Back up. Back up. Those were my fingers, cow. That cow bites. He gets very excited about treats. Okay. And I don't think there's any bids on that guinea pig, so $70, that is really cheap. If he does not sell, I'll just take him with me to Aquashella. May 18th and 19th, I believe. Boys, lay down. 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 Cow. It's the baddest of cows. Okay. Yeah, Rob says a love nibble. Just because it's your spirit animal doesn't mean you need to stick up for his bad behavior. Let me pull up Discord. Here we go. Heather said, my mom listened with me last week and loves the bad cow name. Snow said, Lisa, does pastel artwork need to be behind glass? Yes, I definitely would recommend putting that behind glass. It is going to be sensitive to humidity, everything. I mean, everything. Yes, put it behind glass. That is the safest place for it. So I seal it with Spectrafix, which is, and I put that in the fine mist sprayer that you saw me use earlier. And that's going to help seal it down to an extent. But it's pastel. No matter how much I spray that, I run my hand across it, it's going to smudge. So this is going to protect it from people walking by and touching it, because we all know everyone wants to touch everything. And it's also going to help protect it a bit more from different elements. I would not put it in the bathroom, by the way. Oh, guinea pig, you got a home. Somebody bit on you. Good job, buddy. Okay. Let's see. Cat's Art Pick said, if I crush my pastel stick into powder and mix them with linseed oil, what type of paper should I use? I've got a smart ass comment in there about how, I'm going to go with, how would I know? I don't know what you're doing. I don't know. That is the most bizarre. I have no freaking clue. I keep thinking of all of these. I don't know. What if I grind up a tire with some iced tea? What kind of paper would I don't know. It's the most random. I'm sure that's a thing. I just don't know what it is. And I think I'm funnier than what I really am. Yeah, I have no clue. I'm sorry. I'm actually kind of curious, like, where did you come up with that idea of, because you have to keep in mind, I don't use pastel. Anyway, I mean, besides pan pastel, but like pastel sticks, I don't use them. So I'm not really sure what you're accomplishing with, I don't know what the goal is there. It made me laugh though. Or maybe I made me laugh because I think I'm funnier than I am. Okay. Kitty Cat said, Lisa, I was wondering if a Canadian goose, giraffe, goat, or falcon would work for the lives. I don't recall seeing you make any of those. Thought it would be something different for you. Yeah, I mean, any of those can work. I've done giraffes. You know what's funny? I was actually looking for a good photo of a goat, and I didn't find one that I wanted to do for the live. But that was what I was kind of going through this farm animal kick this week. I ended up with a guinea pig just because I was looking for a normal pig. The normal pig is coming though. Oh dear God, he is adorable. The reference photo I have, you're gonna die. It's so cute. But yeah, no, I like those. I just have to find, everything is just a matter of finding good reference photos. They are all possibilities though. And I do have a lot of those. Do I have a goat? I've done reference photos of goats. Have I painted a goat? I'm trying to think if I've actually painted a goat myself or drawn one over on Patreon. Speaking of Patreon, if you are not already a member, I have over 400 lessons there that are anywhere between 1 to 3, some of them are 4 hours long. I've been uploading lessons there since 2014, so I've got an insane amount of lessons, and for as little as $6 a month, you get access to every single one of them. All different mediums. I've got watercolor, oil painting, colored pencil, acrylic painting, lots of acrylic painting and colored pencil. I've got more with a pan pastel and colored pencil. Inktense, I mean, just graphite, tons and tons of lessons over there. Head over to Lachri.com. You can get information there, or to patreon.com/Lachri. Again, $6 a month for over 400 lessons. It's the best deal there is, seriously. And these aren't your quick paint and sip, like you can paint it with your eyes closed and it looks the same. These are actual art lessons, fine art detail, where I'm showing you step by step how I create more. I mean, this one, he's cute. He's a quick one, so he's a little bit more sketch. Like, he's clearly art. He's clearly a drawing. But I also do a lot of art. Like, let me show you the one that I'm working on right now of a lynx. Hold on, he's behind my fake stained glass thing because I decided I needed a window open. Where is he? This is what I'm working on right now. Oops. Paper just flew out. Well, you live wherever you landed now. You are owned by the floor. Okay. So this is the lynx I'm currently working on. I just started filling in the hair, like the bottom part. It's just the base layer, so don't judge that. But look at this part is mostly done. So this one is, oh, it's too light. The lights are washing this out too much. Tone down. That's, you're still a little overexposed. There, here we go. But anyway, this is one that I'm working on, an upcoming lesson. The background is airbrush. It's not quite done yet. And then this is all, the whole lynx is straight colored pencil. And so you get really detailed, really realistic. This is unfortunately looking a little washed out because of the lights, the way they're hitting. But you get really, really realistic photo or lessons over on Patreon, but you also can get a lot of beginner stuff. I've got all different stages over there for you, tons of lessons. If you head over to Lachri.com, if you go under Patreon, I think videos, you can see a listing of all the videos, except for the more recent ones, I have to update it, but the type of lessons that I have there. So definitely check that out. And there are lots of rewards. There's a few different tiers. You can pay more if you want like mini prints sent to you every month, stickers, like there's all kinds of fun stuff you get depending on the tier that you choose, but as little as $6 a month, that gets you every single video. So. And a few other rewards. Like we have a daily sketchbook now, sketch prompts, where you can share that with other artists in our Discord, where it's stuff. What was today's? Today was the first. I think it was it a vintage lamp? I forget. I don't know. It's random stuff. All kinds of random stuff to keep you feeling creative and drawing, and that also is included with $6 a month. So you get access to our Discord, our private Discord group, where you can chat with other artists. I'm in and out of there. If I'm tagged, I see it. You guys have to tag me if you want me to see stuff. But, because I get busy working and then I don't always check unless someone points it out to me. But we've got a section there to share our pets, to share plants. We've got like all kinds of books. We've got all kinds of fun stuff we talk about over there. Okay. Let's see. Python said, that's why I respect Gamblin so much. Gamblin only focuses on oil paint, and they have said multiple times that that's the one thing they'll make. Exactly, and they're good at it. They are excellent. I love their products. Let's see. Deborah said, do I change anything if I do this on black paper? So black paper being a little bit darker, your darks are going to be darker. Like the gray where I have kind of peeking through, yours is going to have more contrast because it's going to be that much darker. But I would probably do it pretty much the same way. I would just like lean into the fact that more darks are peeking through. That's not a bad thing. Actually, kind of probably will look a little better in some ways. So it's a different thing, but not a bad thing. So no, I would let it look different. Don't be bothered by the fact that your darks are a little bit darker. Your lights, because the contrast with the lights in the dark should still stand out really well. Yeah, no, I think that black paper will work great. Just understand your darks everything's going to be a little bit darker, and that's okay. Let's see. Dolphin Soul said, I'm blown away by how that blue was so bright with just the pan pastel, and now it looks like beautiful highlights and white fur. Yeah, it's crazy because it'll seem scary at first, but what is it that everyone says that always drives me crazy? Trust the process. People like to say that about stupid processes that no one should be trusting, like, trust the process. You're not doing the process right. Don't trust that process. Anyway, sorry, side rant. But no, yeah, it is this would be an example of trust the process. Like going into it, if you were following along, it's gonna be like, whoa, that is blue, that is scary. This isn't right. Keep layering, layer until it looks good. Okay, Pauline said, it amazes me how colors you wouldn't even think would be on an animal until you look at it closely. You know, like blue and purple. So that's another thing. That may feel, if you are newer, that may feel, or even if you've been doing it for a long time, but you haven't started introducing blues, purples, magentas into fur tones. Same with people. Like we use it in skin tone, we use it in hair, all of those colors. If you're not already doing that, it may feel like uncomfortable and scary, and that is normal. The more you start experimenting with it, the more brave you're going to feel about it. And this is one of the reasons that I really like the idea of people doing more in sketchbooks. So quick sketches with, you even do watercolor, you could do quick sketches with pastels, anything, charcoal, just, well, colored charcoal. But the point is, something that has color, but quick colored pencils, just quick sketches where you're focused on the color, like you're kind of making color swatches. I drank bubble water before we started. I should not have. I apologize if I burp. I'm trying to be classy here. But anyway, if you can do color swatches where you're a little bit more brave, one of the things that gets me, and it's something that I want to push further, I watch people do on like Instagram and stuff there's a watercolor artist I watch that does this. He uses these like bold reds on the tip of the nose. These bold colors when he draws people or paints people. And I'm looking at that going, that is, and it comes out looking magnificent. Like so realistic because he did push those colors. It's scary at first. Don't feel like, oh, this isn't for me because it scares me too much. You know, every time I try it doesn't look right. You're going to have some flops along the way. But start playing around with introducing those colors. You will see a night and day difference in your work, but don't be frustrated that it feels so scary in the beginning and that you're not using enough. When I first started experimenting with that, I remember going to a dog show. And I know I saw this story all the time, but that's how you know it's true. Because it's the same story every time. But this lady she was doing or advertising her pet portraits. And she had one dog, I don't even remember the breed, but I remember it was probably like a black lab, but something dark. And the colors, the blues, the purples, and I'm like, yeah, I don't ever include those in mine, and yours looks way more realistic in mine. Now, if I look over, actually, I take it back. Looking at Gibson right now, I don't know if you can really see. I mean, look at the shine on his back. Well, on the camera, that's a lot more blue, but like in person, I'm actually seeing purples and a lot of blue on him. So yeah, I guess when you start looking for it, you'll start seeing it more. If you look at Wade, look at on the cow, the white. Very little of his fur is white. Look at how the glow from the lights around the room are casting on him. The oranges, the caput mortem color. I would use a lot of that. There is a little bit of blue and purple, but with the way his lighting is right now, mostly, those are your darker browns and grays, like it's really dark. When you're looking at something to paint, start looking for that in real life. Look at your cats, look at your dogs, look at the crow flying outside, what colors are really in there. Start paying attention to that bit. And when you start introducing it into your work, even when it's not in the reference photo, like on this guinea pig, he was just gray. He didn't have any tint of blue. But when you start doing it on some, you'll start doing it on other things, like you'll get more confident in it and be more willing to like experiment and add those to the piece, which typically will make it look better. Okay. Let's see. Whoops, that just jumped. Hold on. Where were we? Python said, tips for glazing with oils. I'm painting a classical style portrait and I'd like tips on glazing skin to achieve the luminous effects. Don't glaze white. Don't glaze the more opaque colors. When you're glazing, you're going to use a lot of your mixing medium, so like in my case that would be liquid, and whatever colors you have. Do not throw white in there and you now make the skin look foggy and muddy. So like get your lightest lights in there, but once you start to where you're glazing, You're not glazing with white. You're not glazing with your opaque colors because that is not going to give you that luminance that you're looking for. What you want are your very translucent paints, your very translucent colors. So some brands will tell you like how opaque or translucent they are, but you can test that on your own by, you know, making a swatch on a piece of paper or something and see how translucent it is. But white is not going to be a color you want to glaze with. If you like, I'm not saying you won't use white in the portrait, but you're going to put that on heavier. That's not a part of the glazing process. Okay. Lydia said, hey Lisa, when you varnish an acrylic canvas, how many layers of varnish would you put on the piece? Acrylic is 16 by 20. I normally do 2 to 3 coats. The tiger that I recently did 2, totally shiny, looks great, all it needs. Occasionally, usually when I do 3, it's because something went wrong with the previous coat and so, like I missed a spot or something, and I'll put a 3rd coat over everything just so that it's nice and even. Normally I do, 2 is probably my more common number of layers, but it depends on the varnish you use. I'm using Liquitex High Gloss. If you're using another brand, whatever, go by what they recommend. My back is very angry at me. I apologize for being wiggly. It's probably weird. Fly Me to the Moon said, I wonder what if you brushed OMS over the pan pastels. I've tagged you that fox painting. I think I responded to the fox, right? I did. I meant to. I should have responded to you. Pretty sure I did. The fox that you're working on, by the way, so I apologize to those of you who are not in our Discord. You should be. I don't know why you're not. But the fox that you're working on, so much better. Oh my gosh. And yeah, I think that you are right that your color was too thick before, and so you were covering like your glazing, but your glazes weren't glazes. They were just thick, chunky paint. It is looking so much better this time. I'm excited. Okay. But I'm pretty sure I responded over there too. Python said, FYI, Winsor & Newton quality is starting to go down, especially with their watercolor pencils and acrylics. I hope their oils don't go down the same pathway. Ooh, that's not fun to hear. I feel like so many companies are cutting corners right now, like with the economy being down the drain, with inflation being what it is, like everything is so bad. The corners that companies are cutting are starting to concern me. I mean, we see it with food. What do they call it? Shrinkflation. I think that's the term they're using, where the package is just as big, but if you look at the ounces, it's like 4 ounces instead of it used to be 6 ounces, but the price went up, but you're getting less. That sort of thing we're seeing kind of across the board right now because the cost of everything went up. And if they raised the price of all the products, like in proportion to what their costs are going up, I know everyone gets, oh, the companies are greedy. Their cost went up. Like, you think they're going to eat that? No. Everyone's cost went up for everything. So of course it sucks. Our situation, the whole situation right now sucks. So I think, yeah, I was worried about that happening with art supplies. I haven't personally I haven't had to buy any new art supplies in a bit. Well, not paints anyway. So yeah, I was thinking about that too. I'm a little bit concerned about where that's going because everything is just down the toilet right now. And so, I mean, when you look at all of the financial side of things, like even personally, so you know that these companies are being hit hard too. Like the cost of food is so expensive. So like when you go to Chipotle, like when Matt and I used to eat at Chipotle, for example, it was $20 for the 2 of us. Now it's $40. It's like 39 something for what we got. Like 2 bowls, a couple bags of chips. I think he got a guacamole and we got 2 drinks. $40. Like for fast food, for good fast food. But still, like it's crazy like how things have gotten in the last couple of years, like absolutely insane. So it's happening across the board though. So that's just using food as an example, but it's the cost of everything has gotten. My insurance, my homeowner's insurance, $300 more a month. I'm not getting anything extra out of that, but every single thing is like through the roof. Dog food is an extra $100 a month. Everything. Like I could sit and list off that everything because their costs went up, which then means like stamps, the cost of stamps went up. That's why I had to raise my Patreon by a couple dollars to cover the postage and the cost of postcard. Everything went, and it just trickle down economics, right? But it affects everything. And so, yeah, I hope these art supplies that more companies don't start cheaping out. Like, yeah, I'm concerned. I haven't personally experienced it yet, but I am concerned. Rob said, red magentas give the skin undertone of warmth, makes it seem alive. Yeah, exactly. And even like pulling blues, like a little bit of blue, like around the nose sometimes, or like kind of the underside, the skin on the eyes where it's more translucent on a light, somebody who's see-through like I am, it can give like it looks so much more realistic. Even if you just bump it a bit more than what the reference photo has, like those things just bring so much life to the portrait versus just going by what the reference photo has. So yeah, it really does bring a lot of life. You're right. Maria said, I've tried your method of using pan pastels to lay down the base color and then polychromos over. I couldn't get the colored pencil to lay down. What did I do wrong? If you're using the same paper as me, so the paper can certainly play a role in it, but if, let's say you're using the same paper because this paper has a good amount of tooth to it, and that's still happening, then you put way too much pan pastel down. Make sure that you are putting your Spectrafix on it, but even when I don't put Spectrafix, the colored pencil for me still sticks pretty well. So I would say that you're putting the pan pastels on way too heavy, way too thick. Fly Me to the Moon said, how thin should the glaze be, like tea? Yeah. So, okay, I did respond because that is what you said there. Yeah, tea is a good way to describe it. Now, when I say tea, the color of tea, so it's like dark, but see-through, but not as thin as tea. Like, don't thin it down to that extent, because if it's so thin that you go to paint the acrylics on and it starts to run, too thin, way too thin. So, trying to think if I don't have anything in here that I could easily do an example or a sample for you. But so yeah, translucent like tea, but not quite as thin, like physically, because if it's running, it's too thin. It's not going to dry right. It'll kind of bead up and just be weird. So a little thicker than that, but as translucent as tea. Let's see. Brittany said, I am a part-time worker getting less hours to work at a local grocery store, and the cost of my weekly counseling sessions went from $30 to $50 per counseling session. Ugh, it's everything. It is across the board, because, I mean, you look at like the counselor, her cost went up, or his would have gone up for rent, for I just had to do my taxes, and like part of mine you deduct part of, like, well, most of my house is used for business, but like a large portion of my house is strictly nothing but business. And so I had to check around to find out that I'm making sure I'm charging the business is paying enough rent for living here, if that makes sense, or working out of it. It's a whole tax thing. So I had to call a few places locally that were about the same size, square footage wise, of what I'm using of my home. Like, what if I were to go rent a space? How much would that cost? It's insane. It is insane. Just in 2 years, because I hadn't like changed it in 2 years. In 2 years, everything went up. So like a counselor, they're paying more. They've also got their bills went up for food, for like their cost of living. Everything go across the board, just shoots through. Like, I know, no one wants to talk about economics here, so I'll shut up about it. But I'm not even mad when I see it happen. Like my dog food lady, she had to raise $100 like a month. It's a lot. But her cost, she's been eating that cost for a very long time, and she finally hit a point where like her cost of living is she didn't want to raise the price on people because she knew people would cancel. People will stop feeding the higher quality food because it's too expensive. But she's been eating the cost for so long she can't anymore because her cost of living is so expensive. Like, it affects everything, and it sucks because yeah, it sucks because it sucks. Flaming said, I didn't see your response. Sorry. Oh, I'm glad. Okay, I'm glad you brought it up though, because I was able to explain that a little bit better, because I don't think, I told you in the comment, like, yeah, like tea, but I'm thinking more as translucent as tea, but not as watery as tea, if that makes sense. Like thick tea, like not thick tea, but like black tea, not green tea. Yep, Flaming the Moon said, but our wages did not increase. Yep. Yeah, everything is crazy, but it can't, because how, like, I know you guys aren't here for this, but how is a company going to, like, let's say I can't afford an employee, but let's say I had an employee. If my costs went through the roof, I'm going to have to raise the cost for the product that I'm selling by so much, and also try to raise their wage. Like, everything ends up shooting through. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. Anyway, I'm not going to, I'll stop. I know no one wants to, we want to talk about art. Let's talk about something fun, not the terribleness of everything. Let's see. We've got a long time. Dick Blick price matches, so I shop around to get the lower price. Oh, good tip. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Dick Blick. I also, Teresa, same Teresa, right? Getting an easel for when you come next. I'm actually going to get 2 easels because I need 2 for Aquashella. Anyway, so I will have easels for you when you're here. I'm trying to think, like, can I do a demonstration on something? I don't have anything conveniently set up. Yeah, we're going to sit here and stare at each other awkwardly. I also like ordering from Dick Blick because I like supporting a company that they still, like, they have their own house brand, but they also are carrying products that are still good, unlike Michael's and Hobby Lobby, that when you go into their stores, they're like, here's all our home decor. Don't look at it wrong, it'll fall apart because it's just cheap resin, even though it's supposed to look like wood. I don't, one of these, anyway, yeah, it's I like supporting Blick because I feel like they carry more of what, as an artist, I'm looking for. Whereas Michael's and Hobby Lobby are like, man, we don't care about the artist so much anymore. Here's our home decor and all our other crap that has nothing, like, yeah. So I like giving my money to Blick for sure. Let's see. Flight Moon said, show us some of your artwork and tell us about it. Oh, that's actually fun. No, that's a great. Let's do we can do like a quick little like, not a sketchbook tour, but like I can grab some right now. Yes, absolutely. Do I use a light board? Any that you like? I used one by Artograph, but now light boards, you can just look up light board on Amazon. Any of them are fine. Any of them that are cheap. Small. Don't get a big light board. And I know you're going to be tempted because I was tempted. Here's the problem. Let's say my light board is this big. Also, look how cute the guinea pig is. Let's say this is the size of my light board. And there are some that they're not quite that big. They're maybe this tall. How big is your printer? How big is the paper that you're printing that image onto that you're going to trace? Not much bigger than this guinea pig. Now, when you turn on the light board, all this is lit up and it affects your eyes and you no longer can see what you're tracing very well. So you have to like put towels or paper to try to cover. It's a mess. You only get a light box that's as big as the paper you plan to print on. Small. Even smaller is fine because you can move it around as you need to. But if it's too big, all that extra light shining is not a convenience. Let's see. Aline said, let's talk about how cute Dragon is. And don't get me started on Cheese Mama of the Year. Yeah, Cheese's babies, my jumping spider, my regal jumping spider, my white girl, she had babies 3 weeks ago during the live stream. Was not expecting that. I contacted the breeder. I'm like, so, that spider that I bought from you, it's captive bred, so she's definitely, you know, yeah, she just gave me, like, I now have 50 babies. So yeah, they're 3 weeks old. They haven't left the nest yet. I'm not mad about it because, I mean, jumping spiders are adorable. I can raise some babies. Anyway, let's see. Have I ever done a poured resin over an acrylic painting? So here's the thing with resin. It yellows, like, fairly badly. It's beautiful. I've bought things that have the resin pour. It's so pretty. But that's not going to be as long-term as a good varnish. So I have used resin before. Back when I used to teach at Michael's, but one of the things I got to do was to demonstrate products there. Like this was right after 9/11. That's when they started really doing a lot of in-store demonstrations to try to like cheer people up because crap was going down. So that was. I got to try a lot of products. And so I got to do some of the resin pours, you know, for sealing things. And it is beautiful, but I don't like it because those chemicals are harsh, like harsh. You better have some serious headgear, like covering, like they're harsh. And I don't really want to be exposed to that. So like I'm comfortable with some fumes. Those ones are too harsh for me. So that's one reason that I'm not a huge fan of it. As beautiful as it is. And one of the things that kind of sucks because I wanted to try it where they'll take resin and they'll do a layer and then they paint like a part of the fish, like the bottom layer of a fish, and then the resin, and then another part and another resin. And it's this 3D the way the layers are, and it's amazing, but it's like those fumes are so toxic and I just don't really want to mess with them. So we've got another, I'll go grab, we'll do a not sketchbook tour, a tour of drawings and stuff. In a second here, we've got from Pauline as a super chat. Look at those heads. You guys want a super chat? Come get your super chat. Thank you, Pauline. Yay! Oh yeah, lick lips. Gets treats. It was funny when the boys, they definitely know when it's Wednesday. I came in while I was getting ready, and they're both just, their beds weren't in here yet. There you go. They were just standing in the middle like, Mom, where's our beds? We're ready for Super Chats. Okay, go lay down. Lay down. I'm going to get some stuff to share. Lay down. We're going to look at some old work. Lay down. We'll do some of the bigger ones. Actually, I'll have to make this a lot brighter. Whoa, that's bright. Okay, let me grab, it's over here. Speaking of dragon. Hi, dragon. Okay. Oh, this is probably super dusty. Oh my gosh. It is large. Oh, so this isn't a very dusty art book thing. Oh, I don't know how's the best way to, where to put this or how to share. Let's see. Maybe I can rearrange. So show and tell time. I'm channeling my inner kindergartner, whatever. Oh, this box is large. So this is an archival storage box that I'm using, a very dirty one. And this is very in the way. Okay. What is on you? So the first thing I have, this is actually not that old. This is from 2023. This is a graphite, and this one is a lesson that is over on Patreon. Oh, that's too bright. Hold on. Graphite, the way it picks up the shine, you can't see the darks well, so it's kind of hard to hit it to where, yeah, the detailing in here, I don't know if you can see that, but it is like, that was a lot of work, and that's in graphite with graphite powder for the background. So that lesson is over right now on Patreon. Let's see. Where's a good place to put this where I don't mess anything? You know what would help? A TV tray. Hold on one second. Let me grab a TV tray to put these on. Stay, boys. Yeah, because it doesn't look like you were planning on moving anyway. Okay, hold on. Let me grab a tray. I don't know if you guys can still hear me right now. Are you making noodles? It smells like noodles out here. Oh! Hold on. My background is stuck on my door. Okay. I think I have another board I can set this on. This is the problem with showing large things. No, I don't. Everything has stuff taped to it. Okay, I'll just set it on there. TV trays, by the way, if you don't have them for your art studio, they're like one of my must-haves. I use them for so many things. I used to use them just to draw on to lay flat, but like if no matter what I'm doing, I swear, you need TV trays. Okay, this is an example of what I was talking about before about using glassine to protect things because the image is white. I do not want fingerprints on this. I don't want anything. It would ruin it, so it's wrapped up really well with glassine. See, and it's a good thing too because there is stuff stuck on that. I need to frame this one. Actually, this would look good in my own room because I've got pinks in there. Is graphite powder much different than the charcoal powder? Very similar. I mean, I would use them the same way, but graphite powder, it's graphite, so it's more likely to have like a little bit of a sheen to it than the charcoal would. Okay, make sure my hands are clean. We've got it taped on the back too, so we'll just do it that way. Oh wow, I forgot how bold these colors were. So here is my sea turtle. Doesn't look as bold on camera as it does in person. With the roses, got a little sparrow on there, and some antheus, bees, beehive. One of my weird surreal, I don't know if you can see the beehive on the turtles next. Oh wait, there, it's really in focus there. So there's that one. But this is what I use the glassine for because if I get a fingerprint on this, I can't fix it. I mean, I'd have to draw a new fish over it, basically. So by wrapping it in glassine, this keeps anything else, because I've got all this other artwork in there, nothing's gonna smudge. So it just wrapped up in there, taped on. So speaking of Patreon, the new reference photos are currently up. And I was taking photos of butterflies in the backyard. There's so many butterflies in my yard this year. Like, it is crazy. The cool thing is I went and got, it just came today. I bought a butterfly net. And so I want to catch a few and put them in a light box. Like, they'll be safe. Don't worry. I'm not going to hurt them. I only need to borrow them for a few minutes. But I want to get some photos of them in like a light photograph box. Like, that sounds like more enclosed than what it really is. It just has lights. But yeah, so I should have some better butterfly photos hopefully for next month. Okay. Next we have, this one was also, I think all of these should be lessons over on Patreon. Very few of these at the bottom might not be. So this was a charcoal one of a kitten. And next time I see Linda, I need to give this to her. Linda is a cat lady. But it's big, so I don't want to ship it. I mean, maybe I will eventually. Okay. The next one is water-soluble graphite. Oh, I love this one. I need to frame this one. I want this on my... Actually, being that I'm putting black and white in my room, I think I'm going to frame this for myself. Look at this guy. This one is so... And so it's... You see the sheen? It's water-soluble graphite, which gets to like black, but also it is graphite. And so it gets that little bit of a sheen that graphite does, even though it's like dark. Wait, wrong way, Lisa. This way. There we go. So we've got that. There we go. I'm having a hard time straightening them out. See if I can get them close enough that you can see the detail. So he is definitely one of my favorites. Let me make sure I've got my glass. See, again, glassine just in between each sheet. So here is a colored pencil portrait. Ah, this little girl's so cute. This one's just straight colored pencil. That one, the lesson is also available. But you can see it's a big size. So it's kind of fun showing you in person because you don't always get like how big some of these are until you see them in person. But the reason that I went this large is I wanted to be able to get all the detailing around here. So on the camera, it looks a little bit more yellow. In person, there's definitely more of the purple around her eyes, and it just gives it this really very realistic, there's a lot of depth to that in person. Yeah, she's definitely more purpley in person. These lights are making her look orangey yellow. Not a supernatural way. We've got, this one was an Inktense lesson. When was that one from? 2021, so that's an older one. So lesson of an L. This is a pretty easy project. That one is in Inktense. So if you've not done that one yet and you like Inktense, you should. Here is another charcoal. That lesson is over there. If you are new to charcoal, this is still a pretty good lesson for you. Even though it looks super detailed, you can do this. And it's on the gray paper. We've got a lion in charcoal. I haven't done a good charcoal lesson lately, or in a while. I need to do one. I think I got a reference photo for something I wanted to do in black and white. I don't remember what it was though. There we go. We've got the lion. I've got a wolf, also in charcoal. I love how the charcoal, the black and white, looks on gray paper because this paper isn't, it's not the same type of gray as this. Like this is a more neutral gray. This is a warmer gray. I love charcoal on colored paper. We've got a horse. So again, all of these lessons are over there. I really need to put some of these on my website. Flaming in the Moon said, talking about the tiger, it looks like it shines greenish. It really is just picking up the reflection because I've got teal curtains, teal around me, so that is reflecting off it. It's going to reflect whatever. If it was purple in here, purple would be reflecting. It's just reflective. Oh, this one was a big one. Fun Surreal. This one, wasn't this? This is watercolor. When I was playing around with watercolor for one of the first time with colored pencil. So got all kinds of my favorite stuff in here. An octopus, we got flowers, red-eyed tree frog, singing bird, damask. Okay, this one's really good. This one is, hold on, I want to make sure that mark doesn't, looks like an eraser. Yeah, that was just a little eraser shaving. What did I do this in? Was this powder blender? Does anyone remember? I think this is colored pencil and powder blender. It could be colored pencil and pan pastel, but I'm pretty sure it was with powder blender. So this, and again, that's a lesson. This is on sanded paper. That I can say for sure. That one is on sanded paper. So we've got this guy. See, so many of these are not on my website. I need to make these available to you guys. I mean, the lessons are on my site, but the artwork I don't have listed for sale. I forget how much I have. So here's another one. This is pan pastel and colored pencil on sanded paper. This is the Lux Archival sanded paper. The only sanded paper that I trust with my artwork. It's the only one that's truly light fast, or I'm sorry, pH neutral. I know that, actually, I don't have a thing between these two. There are other brands who claim that they're pH neutral. They're not. I've tested them with the pen, and they are not pH neutral on the back. And over the years, it soaked through and affected the front. And the company says that doesn't happen. Yeah, it does. They're lying. That's all I can conclude, because it does. So we've got a horse in Inktense. There we go. The camera angle is making him look a little weird. What else do we have? We have I don't want to keep putting stuff on top of that one. We'll put you in my lap for now. A kitten on sanded paper. Kitten and a pumpkin. Oh, I forget I did a bunch of these. What was this? Was this a live stream or was this, it's not even signed. I don't remember. Oh, I need to take photos. This needs to be one of our Patreon cards in October, like for the fall. I don't remember if this was a live stream or a normal Patreon lesson. Not a clue. Got a Patreon lesson on a charcoal eye. Not terribly exciting. This one, I love, love, love this one. So this one's an airbrush background with colored pencil. Let me see if I can get that in focus more. Yeah, the lighting in here is making things look a little bit more orangey than in person. They're definitely more bright. I think I can go a little bit closer this way. There we go. And this one's big. And I need to put that on my website too. A few of these really should be. Okay, what else do we have? Oh, I forgot about this guy. So we have a deer, a surreal deer with fish and coral on his antlers. Go a little closer, you can see, there we go, now we can see the detail. This is on sanded paper as well. I want to say this was colored pencil. Actually, I don't remember if this is colored pencil with powder blender or if it's colored pencil over powder blend or pan pastel. I do not remember. We have another Inktense. This one is Red Panda. I know this was, I was trying to do Inktense with the airbrush to see if it would work. It did work, kinda. It kind of sets a little weird. I don't know that I'd do it again, but it technically worked. I've got an Inktense. So actually, there's a funny story. This is from 2019. I had a friend who ended up, he's actually a sociopath, found out that his parents let us know he was like a diagnosed sociopath. I'm like, oh, nice. He was the boyfriend of a friend of mine, and he did some stuff. He did not get his painting, but that was who it was supposed to be for at the time. And then he inappropriately touched people he shouldn't have been touching. That was part of what he did. Anyway, moving on. Oh, this one. God, now this is not on Patreon. Tyrion Lannister. You know, when Game of Thrones was actually good. And it's not now. But this was before I started Patreon. So when was that? 2012. Dear God, that one's old. This one, I want to say it's charcoal. Did I mix charcoal or carbon pencil and graphite? I don't know. I mixed it with a lot of stuff. I actually think it looks better on camera than it does in person. It's not as crisp as I would like. I would definitely, part of me kind of wants to do it again. Part of me says he's mean to people, and so I don't really want to, but whatever. This one is a lesson on Patreon. This one is just normal graphite. I mean, some of it was with a mechanical graphite pencil. This is 2019. So yeah, that lesson, this is like a 3-part lesson because it's going to look too light on, wait, there, at that angle, you can kind of see. Her hair is my favorite part. That took so long, and it was so much fun. So that is a lesson that is available to you guys. This is fun. I hope you guys are having fun. I'm having fun with looking through these. Pelican in charcoal on, this is, what paper was this? It's a board. Is it Arches or, I don't remember who makes this, but it's an actual like art board. So it's thicker than usual. I wanted to play around with that, but there we go. This one I think was a photo I took. I'm pretty sure this was one of my photographs. Okay, we have a hippo in, was this Inktense or graphite? Or, I think this was, I want to say this was graphite, but I could be wrong. Maybe it was Inktense. I don't know. There's a lesson for it, though. Aw, hippo. We've got a lionfish. I need to send this to my friend Kendra, and I just haven't done that yet. But this was one of my first time using watercolor pencils. This was, I think it was the Derwent watercolor. I love, okay, so they're not the most light fast. It hasn't faded, but it hasn't been exposed to light either. But oh my gosh, they were so enjoyable to work in. Let me see if I can get the detail a little bit better for you. I freaking love how this came out, but I'm supposed to, yeah, this is one of many things I need to send to Kendra. But it was my first time playing with those watercolor pencils. Oh my gosh, if you are just kind of like, oh, I don't want to spend as much as some of the other brands cost, Derwent, they're not all light fast, but man, they perform beautifully. They were like really enjoyable to work in. So if you don't care about light fast, there you go. So these were the old Winsor & Newton pigment markers, which were so fun to work with, but I don't really do lessons with them anymore. Somebody told me, and I need to look into it, I just haven't gotten around to it because I have a million other things that apparently I'm prioritizing, but somebody said that they made another like brand, or it's still Winsor & Newton, but they call it something else, but it's the same thing. I don't know, I haven't tried them yet. But these were the Winsor & Newton pigment markers. Here's the thing, these pigment markers, as much as I love them, and I still have a bunch of them, I don't know if they're dried out yet, I love them, but they are part of what made me not trust companies when they come out with a new product. Like, if I go out and invest hundreds of dollars, like they sent me an initial set of like 20, and I went and spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars because I loved them so much and got all the colors I could find. And then most places stopped carrying them after that. And then they discontinued them. But then, like I said, some people have told me they're named something else and it's really the same thing. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is, but I don't want to like invest too much time or effort because I don't trust when companies do that. Don't come up with a new product. Get me to promote it, because that was what they sent me the initial 20 for, or 20 or whatever it was for. And then I just don't like. I don't want to become in love with a product that you're not going to keep making. And now I have lessons, but they're kind of pointless because if people don't already have that product. We have an Inktense Zebra. I forgot about this. Man, I forgot about so many of. No, I think you're too purpley for my room. I need more of a blush pink. I don't think this one would work, but yeah. We've got, this one is another in watercolor pencil. This is the Caran d'Ache watercolor pencils. And this purple, oh my God. This is actually looking a little too washed out. Let's see if you can. I was trying to get this pretty dark purple. Yeah, no, Caran d'Ache watercolor purple is the worst purple of all the purples in the history of purple. Like seriously, it is the most, no amount of building up would get it to have any pigment. It was so light, it was so frustrating. But besides that, the rest of the colors I absolutely loved working in. So that was a good thing. It's just the purple was very, very weak. We've got another, I think this is Inktense. We've got, this was a reference photo I took. Well, not the butterfly, but the pumpkins. And we've got the, oh my gosh. So these were the Derwent Pro Color. This was the first time I experienced a purple colored pencil I was in love with. Let me see if you can get that to where, it's a little bit washed out. There you go. That looks pretty accurate. I was so in love with the purple. And they sent me the pencils to use to do a review on before they released, like I didn't know what the light fast ratings were going to be. I didn't know any of that yet. They sent that to review and I loved them. I loved how the pencils performed. I loved the colors. I loved everything. And then it turns out they weren't light fast. Some of the colors were, most of the colors were not. I was like, I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry because these were the best pencils. I loved them. Luckily, they had listed the Pro Color as being somewhere in between, like a good balance between oil-based and wax-based colored pencils. Absolutely was. I agree with that. But they're not light fast. And I'm like, why? Like artists we want light fast. Colored pencil artists are very picky. We want light fast. So they then ended up coming out with the Derwent Light Fast. And they claim that those are oil-based. I don't think so. I think they perform very similar to these. They're somewhere between a wax and like a nice balance of wax and oil. So I got my purples, even some better purples than what came in this set, but I was so disappointed because I loved these pencils so much the first time I tried them, and I was so excited. And then they released the Light Fast Radiance, and it was like, ugh, just no. Why did you do that to me? Okay, next. Oh, I forgot about him. Oh, he might look good in my room too if I actually took the time to mat him. We've got graphite, and it's just simple. And this is a reference photo I believe I took, and I liked that parts of it that were overexposed. I just ran with that and hit graphite on like the darker areas, and I love how that, like, it's just so simple and artsy looking. It looks better in person. There we go. You can see the detail in there. Okay, and this is one that I have to make sure he stays light. This one is, I think this was Pastels and colored pencil. Yeah, that is on sanded paper. Is this, I think I mounted this myself. I don't remember. This is either Fisher 400 or it's, yeah, I think it's Fisher 400. I don't remember. So I can't sell it if it's not on. If it's not Lux Archival, any other sanded paper, I won't sell the work because we know it's not acid free. Like we've tested, it's not safe. So, but that lesson is available, and he's super cute and he makes for good prints. So it's not the end of the world. Next is colored pencil, and I think this is powder blender. So this was a Beetlejuice take. My friend had designed, my friend is one of those people who goes through a million different hobbies. I think his current hobby is pole dancing. Don't ask. At one point, his hobby was sewing. And so he did a collaboration with other artists or other creators. One did her makeup. Her makeup was this, not that. One did her hair, one did the dress, one was the photographer. And this was a whole collaboration with different people in Dallas. And then my take on it was to make half her face actually have the Beetlejuice look. But this eventually I will end up giving, whenever I see him next, if he can make room between his pole that he dances on, that is in his living room right now. Okay. We all have our hobbies. This one I need to send to Than with Tidal Gardens. I did not know that. I wasn't sure where this was. This is Than from Tidal Gardens, his cat, and Coral from photos I took from him, and fish. And the funny thing is, it turns out he hates clownfish. I didn't know that when I drew this. I love clownfish. He thinks they're jerks. I mean, he's not wrong, but, oh, I should find out if he's going to be at Aquashella. If he is, I should just bring it with me there. I don't know if he's coming to this one. This was one of the first, this is 2015. This was one of the first, this was the biggest colored pencil pieces I had done at this point. Oh Lord, this was a long one. So this is all colored pencil. This is Fabriano Artistico, extra white hot press, 140-pound watercolor paper, back when it was good. I'm pretty sure if I did this again, the blacks would not come out that dark on that paper. But yeah, that took none of this is airbrush. This is all hand drawn in, and it is time consuming. But there we go. This guy, I need to sell him. He's just too good not to be on someone's wall. Honestly, that's the case with a lot of these. I forget that they're in here. I'm looking and I'm like, why is that not on my website? We've got this guy. This is on Stonehenge. It's, oh wait, let me turn it so you can kind of, it's hitting the glare weird. There we go. That is all colored pencil, so that lesson is available. That's kind of an older one, 2015. Okay. I'm not looking forward to putting this all back in the box in the order I had it in. So this one is an airbrush background with the birds are in colored pencil. Let's see. Again, it looks very yellow in the lighting in here right now. Wait, let's see if I can kind of, nope, wrong way. There we go. Wait, a little bit more. There we go. That really needs to go on my website too. So I love that one because I like the 3D effect that it has with the airbrush background on that. So that is the last thing that is in this big, huge storage box. So this box, I think this one, it's an art storage box, and you want to make sure when you get something like that that it is listed as being acid free if you're going to store your art in it, because it's too big to store. Like I have those, what are they? Like photo type books, but for art, I have like for portfolio stuff, I have those, but most of these things are just way too big for that. And so this just huge storage box, it's kind of fallen apart over the years. I've had it forever, but it's kept everything really safe, which is nice. And as I put this away, you can't really see, but I've got my glassine in between each sheet of everything. Oh, don't mess up the tiger. God, that tiger took me forever. After doing that one, I remember thinking, I am not doing colored pencil again forever. Like, that was just too much. I need to leave this one for Than up front because I need to get that to him. It's been from 2019 and I still haven't sent it to him. Let's see. Again, I will be at Aquashella on May 18th and 19th. If you want to come say hi, you can get tickets now at aquashella.com. That's an aquarium festival. It has not just fish, though. You've got fresh and saltwater fish stuff, coral, plants. You've got a lot of YouTubers will be there for like they call them fish tubers or whatever. But you also got reptiles, normal plants, not just like aquarium plants, but usually there's a vendor there with plants. It's always my favorite place to go. And quite a few artists. So like one of my favorite, Lazy Coffee Design, she will be there. She's the main booth I plan. I'm going to go shop with her, and I'd like to get 1 or 2 fancy discosoma mushrooms for, let's see, this needs to have this first, for my reef tank. But I'm actually not planning on going super crazy on, I'm going to wait on you, on going super crazy with coral, because actually my tank is pretty full right now with coral. Let's see. Teresa said, keep the fish ones out for the show. Well, the problem is some of these fish ones are not all light fast. So like the clownfish one, I do have prints of this at the show, but this guy is not all the colors I used are light fast. So that's another thing. Like we often think Caran d'Ache, like because Caran d'Ache Luminance, they're all light fast. Not all Caran d'Ache products are though. Not all the watercolor pencils are. Some are, but not all. So I don't remember how many weren't in that set, but enough that I'm not going to try selling it. And I don't actually normally bring originals. I bring some smaller originals. I'll have some small stuff there, but I don't bring big paintings and stuff to Aquashella because when you take stuff to shows, one, people aren't looking to spend more than $100. Even that's pushing it. The other thing is that when you drag your originals back and forth to art shows, they are way more likely to get damaged. So I usually bring 1 original with me. I'll probably bring, Tracy, you know, Tracy's been here. Over my reef tank, I've got the one big marine painting. I'll probably bring that. Either that or the lion that's framed in my living room. Yeah, actually, you're probably safe to go over that. And we've got us, let's see. Do you boys want a super chat from Art by MV? Thank you so much. Yes, you get a super chat. Come here. They're like, I don't know if you're serious, though. You might tell us no. Come here. You get a super chat. Gibson, do you want one? He's like, I thought you were kidding. I didn't think you were serious. There you go. Thank you so much. Chomp. Okay, go lay down. That's it. Lay down. Boys, you're not listening. They're like, yeah, but we know you're not going to do anything about it. Lay down. Lay down. Okay, I'm just getting this all put away because I get all paranoid about stuff getting messed up. Let's see. Any other questions? Art by MV said, I just got here late and wanted to see the puppers. I don't blame you. They're adorable. Again, you've got a couple minutes if you want to bid on, I'll show you again, the guinea pig from tonight. Since you just got here, Art by MV, you may want to see what he came out like. There is the finished guinea pig. God, he's so cute. I'm really happy with him. So cute. I knew when I saw that reference photo, like, oh, I have to draw him. You know what's weird? With all the animals I've had in my life, I have never owned a guinea pig. I'm not sure why. But I'm not getting one now. I have too many pets. No more. The frogs agree. Okay, let's see. No, you stay that way. You can stay in that order. Actually, all of these can go in. in that same stack. Again, if you have any questions, Python said, suggestion, bald eagle or acrylic, in oil or acrylic. Are you talking about a really detailed one for Patreon or something quick for live streams, Python? I can make either happen. Pelican is charcoal. This is so cool seeing you right. The Pelican was colored pencil. And thank you. Yeah, you're probably safe that way. I think I can just, yeah, these guys can just stack on that way. Okay, there we go. I'm telling you, TV trays, they are like, oh, I guess you can't see it. There's so much paint on it. Like you can see how much I use it for art. Like that is the, like, I don't know anyone who's uses TV trays as intended. I use them for art. That is like the handiest thing. Anytime I need just a quick small table that's portable. Okay, let me put this back. Next time, what time is it right now? 9:55. Next time, if we have extra time, or next time that we do have extra time, we'll do that again. I have some other portfolios and stuff we can dig through, which would be fun. Something detailed for Patreon. Yes, bald eagle, because I have reference photos. You guys know over on Patreon, there have been several that in the last few months, so I absolutely can. I've got the photos for it. Actually, Dolphin Soul, if you are listening right now, can you actually message me the bald eagle in, what did you say, oils or acrylic? Yeah, you're watching it right there. Flaming the Moon said, I love the sound of frogs, so soothing. So yeah, they weren't, I wasn't going to put them, so I have a new vivarium. Let me, actually, I can move this camera and show you guys. You have not seen the new one yet. So they used to be in a much smaller one. Which camera? Oops, that wasn't what I meant to do. Oop, turning things off. Nope, not that one, this one. Okay, so they had a much smaller, maybe half the size of this tank. Oh, maybe I can't reach as well as I thought I could. Let me see. And I made the new one. This was Dragon's baby tank before he got his upgrade. So they got an upgrade. Don't cut out, you're probably gonna cut out. Oh, you're only seeing from the side. Let me see, I don't know if I can back this up enough to really show you. I'm trying to, nope, that's my face. Not my face, not my armpit either. Okay, this is at a terrible angle and you can't see. That doesn't look good at all. It is really overexposed. I may be able to fix that part though, let me see. But they got the new tank. They were supposed to be in my bedroom for, well, I ramble, I'll try to fix the lighting on that. They were supposed to be in my bedroom for 6 weeks in their old tank while this one got established with a moss and such. However, what you're hearing right now, I'm like, oh, at night they'll be quiet because it's night. No, well, at night wasn't so bad. If I tried to nap in the day, that was my real problem. It was so loud. And I finally, after 3 weeks, was like, I can't take it anymore. You're going in early. I am not. Okay, automatic is definitely overexposed. That's a bit closer to what you would see. Nope. That's kinda, it looks terrible. It looks way better in person. Well, it looks better if I could get the camera in front of the tank. You're seeing it from an angle. But the frogs are about 1 inch. I don't see any of them right now. But they're 1 inch. They're really tiny. They're a little smaller than 1 inch. Tiny, tiny little guys. But that is their new, I think I just saw one move. Oh, yeah. One is right. You can kind of see him right here on that leaf. Little, oh, yeah, you can see my hand. Little guy right up there. He kind of moved. Yeah, you're the loud one. You're the one who made you guys get evicted 3 weeks early. So I'm waiting for the moss to fill in more on all the branches, and it looks really pretty from the front. The moss is filling in nicely, even though you messed some up. I'm also attempting, I don't know how well it'll go. Let me move this over. I've got some baby frogs of theirs. I have some of their children. Let me switch cameras. I've got some of their children in a grow out. They just transformed from tadpoles, so I'm trying to get a few. I don't see any Yeah, I can't see any in here right now. They're hiding. But this is the grow out for their children. We've got some plants, some moss, some leaf litter, a bunch of springtails, and some fruit flies in there. So I'm trying to get some babies so I can have a few more. Since that tank is so much bigger, I could have a few more in there. And if you are in the DFW area and you'd like some more baby frogs, let me know, because I may have extra, you know, assuming they live, because yeah. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining. Where did there we go. Let's see. Yeah, it is so loud in person. Tommy Moon said, "Wow, love the tank." I think we don't hear it as loud through the computer. Yeah, no. When you're trying to sleep, the noise. They're small. Art by MeWe said they're that small, making that much noise. 1 inch. They're smaller than 1 inch. They're tiny little guys. And they are so loud, and I love, love, love the noise while I'm in here working. Like, it's like my magical little fairy wizard room. And they add to the ambience in here so much. They do not add to the ambience of my nap. They were like, it was bad. It was so bad. I finally, last Friday, I was like, that's it, I'm done. Caught one in a solo cup, the one that was making the most noise. That was a lucky catch. I had to pull everything out of the old tank to catch the other two. So yeah, they're in here now, and they're really, really loud. Let's see. Is this a terrarium? Yeah, it's a vivarium. So a terrarium would be, I think they count it a terrarium if there's no live animals in it. With these guys, we've got them. There's some isopods. There are like some cleanup crew, little, think roly-poly, but smaller. Well, they're still isopods. But I got dwarf whites in there, and I have springtails that'll eat the moss and waste and stuff like that. So yeah, that is lots of life. It's like its own little ecosystem. Right now I have to mist it 3 times a day because of the moss, to make sure that it doesn't dry out well. Because I put a moss slurry in there, which is like mud made from a whole bunch of different mosses, and you cake it on wherever you want it, and then it'll end up growing. But I have to mist it a lot for that. So, but normally I just, throw food in every couple of days and mist it, and that's really all the carrot needs. Like it's self-cleaning because of the cleanup crew. So yeah. Let's see. We'll wrap this up. Flaming said, "Wow, you created a planet in a tank." Yeah, I wanted it to feel like so Dragon's tank, I wanted it to feel like rock work. Like you took a piece out of a cave and then stuck it in a tank. For these guys, I wanted it to feel like you took a piece out of the forest floor, like just cut out. So branches and roots is what the branches are supposed to look like, kind of sticking out. And moss, and like there's leaf litter on the bottom. I want it to look like just chopped a section out of the forest floor and stuck it in the room. When I get my animals, and same thing with my reef tank, it's not about having just like, oh, I want frogs. I want to create an environment that's as natural as possible. I want like you chopped this out of the rainforest, and like including the animals, the whole thing's just everything, just little square out of the rainforest. That's my goal. So yes, I tried to create a little world in there for them. Anyway, thank you guys so much. Congratulations to whoever just won the guinea pig. Do I know? I don't even know if I can tell. I can't tell. It only shows me when I look on here a couple of names, and I can't tell. It shows me part of the name. So anyway, congratulations to whoever won, and thank you for bidding. Thank you guys for watching. If you draw this, make sure you tag me in it. I would love to see it. Also, and if you watch any of my tutorials, please share them online in art groups. Because one of the problems that I'm having, even like the beginner acrylic painting group, everyone shares only beginner stuff. And technically this would be, your more entry level, getting into colored pencil and hand pastel. It's a quicker project, as cute as he is. But there aren't, people are only sharing paint and sip type lessons. They're not sharing other lessons from other artists. So if you could share with me, share my stuff, share other artists who are a bit more advanced. I'd love to see people dipping their toes in the deeper end. Try some of the more difficult projects that are going to actually make you improve. Too often the artists in these beginner art groups feel like I'm a beginner, therefore I must do only beginner lessons. But that's why they are always going to be a beginner, because they will only, they don't realize they can do things that are more advanced. So anyway, moral of the story is the more of you guys who share, the better. Not just of me, of any art lessons that you're following. If you share that in Facebook groups, on MeWe groups, wherever whatever social media you're using, you help us all out a ton. Trust me, we all appreciate it when you do that. Thank you so much. Make sure to check out the moderators channels links. That was like the weirdest slur ever. I've been watching a lot of videos of people getting arrested for DUI because some of those people are hilarious. Not that drinking and driving is hilarious. That actually pisses me off to no end. But the ridiculousness of how some of these people behave. And I'm over here slurring off my tea and honey. Hey, could be old honey. But anyway, wait, no, that would be mead. Anyway, moving on. Check out the moderators. There, I said it better that time. Moderators channel link is in the video description for everybody. Joseph and Clark Fine Art both have live streams every single week, almost every single week. Nick doesn't like editing videos, so he doesn't have them often, but when he does, they're good. So you definitely want to make sure you're subscribed to him. Thank you guys so much. I will see you guys next week. Next week is either, what is next week's? I don't remember. I know we have a pig coming up and we have, what was the other farm animal? I think there was another farm animal. I don't have my tablet in here, so I can't look and tell. I don't know, but it's coming soon. But that's it. I'm done. I'm done rambling. Bye.